Steroids, scandals, and shocking accusations. Superstar. Billy Graham's life was a powder keg of controversy. He was a wrestling pioneer who pushed boundaries and defied expectations, but his outspoken nature and reckless choices often landed him in hot water. This is the story of how a wrestling icon soared to unimaginable heights, only to crash back down to earth in a heartbreaking struggle for survival. Billy Graham, born Eldridge Wayne Coleman in 1943, started out like many wrestlers, playing sports and staying active. But what set him apart was his flair for drama and performance. He didn't just want to be a wrestler, he wanted to be a superstar. Graham kicked off his wrestling career in the late 1960s, and it didn't take long for him to make a name for himself. He worked in the American Wrestling Association, but it was when he joined the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, now known as WWE, that he really exploded onto the scene. In 1977, Graham captured the WWF World Heavyweight Championship from the legendary Bruno Sammartino. This was a massive deal. For nearly a year, he held the title, and his over-the-top persona, complete with wild outfits and bold catchphrases, drew crowds in like never before. He was the guy you loved to hate, but it wasn't just his wrestling that made him famous. It was his ability to entertain. Graham's style and charisma paved the way for future wrestling icons like Hulk Hogan and Jesse the Body Ventura. He truly changed the game by blending wrestling with showbiz. However, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows for the superstar. His career was marred by controversies, especially regarding his use of steroids. Back in the day, steroid use was becoming pretty common in wrestling, but not many were brave enough to admit it. Billy was different. He was upfront about his use, even saying that his incredible physique and success in wrestling were thanks to those steroids. Now, while he might have felt he was being honest, this also drew a lot of criticism. People were worried he was promoting a risky and unhealthy lifestyle, especially for young fans looking up to him. But that wasn't the only controversy surrounding him. Graham was known for making some pretty inflammatory comments. One of the most shocking moments came during an appearance on the Phil Donahue Show, where he accused WWE officials of sexually abusing children. This was a wild accusation that he later admitted was a complete fabrication, made up in an attempt to extort money from WWE. This incident severely damaged his reputation and strained his relationship with the company. Talk about a fall from grace. Graham didn't just stop at accusations. He was also vocal about his fellow wrestlers. He often criticized those he felt were copying his style. One of his biggest targets was Hulk Hogan. Billy called Hogan out for mimicking his persona. It got so heated that he even demanded to be removed from the WWE Hall of Fame when Abdullah the Butcher was inducted. His reason? He claimed Abdullah's in-ring practices were unsafe. Now, beyond all the controversies, Graham faced some significant personal struggles. He battled drug addiction and went through some severe health issues, including needing a liver transplant. While many people felt sympathy for him during these tough times, some of his comments and actions only added to the controversies. It's a tough situation, showing how complicated his life really was. Although he was controversial and happening all the time, no one knew that a tragedy was about to happen. So back in the early 2000s, Billy's health took a serious hit when he got diagnosed with hepatitis C. For those who don't know, that's a virus that messes with your liver big time. By 2002, things got so bad that he needed a liver transplant. Luckily, he received a liver from a 26-year-old woman who tragically died in a car accident. Imagine going through that. At the time of the transplant, he was already battling cirrhosis, which is really serious. Then in May 2006, he found himself back in the hospital with a bowel obstruction from a previous surgery. Talk about a rough road. Fast forward to July 2010, and he's hospitalized again for liver issues. At that point, Billy opened up about how he thought he might have just a year left to live unless he got another liver transplant. He even reserved a burial spot next to his buddy Eddie Guerrero in Scottsdale, Arizona. That's some heavy stuff to deal with. In March 2011, his doctor, Hector Rodriguez Luna, mentioned that Billy might have advanced fibrosis, which can lead to early cirrhosis. He said that with the right treatment and by staying fit, Billy could maybe squeeze out another couple of years. But by 2012, he was diagnosed with third-stage liver disease and cirrhosis, which was a real blow. Things didn't let up for him. On January 17, 2013, he landed in the hospital with double pneumonia and even faced possible heart failure. Just a few years later, in October 2014, he was back in the hospital for more liver complications. And then in August 2016, he had to deal with some scary internal bleeding and ended up having surgery to figure out what was going on. Fast forward to June 2022, and he had to have some toes amputated. It's tough to see someone who was once so strong go through all of this. Then in January 2023, Billy was hospitalized again, this time dealing with an ear and skull infection that left him deaf. By April, he had lost 80 pounds and was facing issues with his kidneys, heart, and lungs. Sadly, on May 17, 2023, just 3 weeks shy of his 80th birthday, he passed away from sepsis and multiple organ failure after being placed on life support earlier that week. Billy Graham's story is a powerful reminder of the struggles he faced, not just in the ring, but in life. He was a true fighter, and his legacy lives on. As a humble ode to his legacy, let's give a quick rundown to his epic career. Wayne Coleman, known as Superstar Billy Graham, was born on June 7, 1943 in Phoenix, Arizona, into a working-class family. His dad, Eldridge, originally from Mississippi, worked as a laborer for a power company, but had to switch to light office duties after he developed multiple sclerosis. His mother, Juanita, who claimed to have Cherokee ancestry, came from Arkansas. Growing up, Wayne discovered his passion for weightlifting in the 5th grade. As a teenager, he became a big fan of bodybuilding, idolizing figures like Steve Reeves and John Grimmick. Along with lifting weights, he also embraced Christianity and began incorporating strength feats into his sermons while traveling to religious revivals. Despite the physical prowess that came with his weightlifting, Wayne faced tough times at home. His father, jealous of Wayne's impressive physique, would often beat him, leading to one memorable day when Wayne managed to wrest the leather strap from his father's grip. His mother also resorted to hitting him with a brick, saying he was too big to hit with anything else. At North High School, Wayne excelled in track and field and became a shot put champion. He even dabbled in boxing, competing in the 1959 Golden Gloves. After high school in 1966, he played for the Waterbury Orbits in the Atlantic Coast Football League. He then joined the Oakland Raiders of the American Football League in 1967, although he didn't get a chance to play in a game. A year later, he tried out for the Calgary Stampeders in the Canadian Football League, but ended up being traded to the Montreal Alouettes, where he played 5 games. He also took a turn with the Las Vegas Cowboys in the Continental Football League in 1969, all while working as a debt collector and a bouncer at a bar in Phoenix. Wayne's wrestling career took off in 1969 when he trained with Stu Hart for Stampede Wrestling. He debuted on January 16, 1970, and quickly made a name for himself, wrestling across various promotions in the U.S. and Canada. He adopted the ring name Billy Graham, paying tribute to the famous evangelist. In the late 1970s, he gained popularity in the American Wrestling Association, AWA, where he had intense rivalries with famous wrestlers like Wahoo McDaniel and Ken Patera. Graham made his mark in the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, WWF, on October 25, 1975, defeating then-champion Bruno Sammartino in a tag match. He became the WWF Heavyweight Champion on April 30, 1977, showcasing his charisma and in-ring ability against notable challengers like Dusty Rhodes and Pedro Morales. His reign came to an end when he lost the title to Bob Backlund in 1978. After leaving the WWF, Graham wrestled for several promotions, including the Continental Wrestling Association, where he won the CWA World Championship. He faced a challenging time in the early 1980s, wrestling only a few matches and even being falsely reported dead in 1981 as part of a joke by fellow wrestler Dusty Rhodes. However, he returned to wrestling in 1982, adopting a new look with a bald head and a mustache. In the mid-1980s, Graham bounced between the AWA and NWA, eventually returning to the WWF as a fan favorite. However, a hip replacement surgery sidelined him in 1987, leading to his retirement from active competition after a final match against Butch Reed. In 2004, Graham was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, recognizing his influence in professional wrestling. Sadly, he faced health challenges later in life, including a liver transplant that required him to sell his Hall of Fame ring for medical expenses. Despite these struggles, he continued to make appearances in WWE, participating in various events and promoting his memoirs until his departure from the company in 2009. Wayne's Superstar, Graham's journey from a working-class upbringing to wrestling stardom is a testament to his determination, talent, and charisma. His legacy in the world of professional wrestling endures, inspiring future generations of athletes and fans alike.